Hello, Professor Wood. Today I'm going to be talking about Irises by Vincent van Gogh and The Promenade by Pierre-Auguste Renoir. I visited the online Getty Museum to discover two oil on canvas paintings, starting with Irises by Vincent van Gogh. Irises by Vincent van Gogh was inspired by his own personal struggles of being hospitalized and emotionally disturbed. He decided to check himself into an asylum. He spent the last year of his life in this asylum and spent most of his time working on his artwork, I believe as a way to cope or express his inner feelings. This was a way to express the nature he had spent his time looking at in the asylum's gardens and the nature of the life of the flowers themselves. He saw it as a study of what he was seeing and could have had an influence from patterning of Japanese print, and the consistent use of black contour shows off this inspiration. It represents air and life as we see it on a day-to-day basis through other forms of nature as well. Vincent van Gogh studies the lines in a way that makes them curvy and wavy. The color has an eye-catching vibrancy with the blue and the yellow backdrop. His irises paintings would have been purple, but over time the pigment turned blue, but in person, the original flowers he saw were purple. The color purple is known to be stimulating and has been symbolized by people to be known as rare or luxurious. There are many different types of iris flowers, but the blue and purple represents a more wild flower. The blue itself can symbolize hope and faith. Purple is another symbolism of wealth and the creative part of our brains. It is interesting to think of what Van Gogh might have thought about wealth because he did not make any money from his paintings in his lifetime. He has worked on many different paintings titled Irises, and this is the main image displayed in the Getty, although each one of these paintings has its own unique look. To any person that looks at this painting, it may provide a sense of relief and a healing force to them. The way the figures are shown with his specific brushwork, the landscape itself can be admired even if the color was taken away from the image and brings a sense of realism. Calmness and peace is a driving force within these still flowers. Documenting nature and peacefulness can enrich the world around us because, in times that are harder or fast-paced, we can take a look back on it and realize the little things just for a moment of calmness and peace. The second painting I chose is called The Promenade, from 1870 by Pierre-Auguste Renoir. This was also in the Getty Museum. Pierre-Auguste Renoir loved the study drawing in his free time and was an aspiring singer. Since singing was a risky job, he decided that he wanted to pursue art instead. He started out with porcelain painting and decorating plates and other types of dishware. In 1864, he was accepted into a Paris salon exhibit. This in turn helped him gain exposure to his artwork, and he struggled to make a living, even with this exposure. In 1870, he had to take a break from working on his artwork to join the army. When back from the army, he created an expedition where he used his commissions to go on several trips and journeys. The Promenade immediately caught my eye because of the beautiful woman in a white dress walking hand in hand with a man that is delicately bringing her to where she needs to be. They are a young couple walking through endless nature with foliage vines following behind them to bring an enchanted feel to the image. The twigs and tree trunks covering the floor bring many neutral elements that can take away from the subjects. We cannot tell exactly where the subjects are, but we can tell it is not in a public place. Renoir uses a thin paint mixture to have his brush strokes floating into each other to create more depth and contrasting the tone and colors in the image. The pink features in the woman's face leads down the man's hand, leading the viewer's eyes to look at the defining elements. The man's face has small red spots, and in this hat, to draw more attention to those features. Red tends to be a very eye-catching color to many people. There's no obvious ending of where the couple will end up, leaving the viewer wondering the backstory of the young couple. If you look closely, the man is pushing the foliage out of the way so his female companion is able to walk by comfortably and elegantly, but could also be misleading, or his intentions might not be as pure as they may seem. The viewer may never know. She turns her head to the side in order to show innocence, and that she is hesitant to head in the direction he is leading her to. The woman is a more bright figure in the picture as she is painted as the main focus due to her partner being behind her. The man is darker and harder to identify due to the light only being casted on the top of his hat. It is hard to read his facial expressions and true intentions. The man's hat symbolizes that he is a boater from that time period, based off of the ribbon at the top of his head, so they may have come from a boat together. The painting shows off realism from everyday life and recognizable social types from the 19th century. The woman is wealthier compared to the man, but still brings a sense of youthfulness and fun. As the artist said himself, he likes a painting that makes him want to stroll in it. A painting that takes us to another place in time or where we want to be in the future can enrich the world around us. Every person needs something to see in order to gain inspiration in what we want for our future. Some may be strolling through a calm and peaceful place with our companion.